Hello, Forecaster here again, and we are back for episode 167. And I've been working on the bridge, and unfortunately, building a bridge is quite boring, and this bridge is extremely boring because it is very long. Now, I've constructed most of it, but I've grown tired of placing blocks and jumping around because it's quite monotonous. So what I decided to do was make the robot do it for me. So I made a program that would place blocks in a specific pattern. So it would build a segment of the bridge each time the program is run, and it would place the blocks in the correct order so that they do not fall, of course, which was important. Unfortunately, I hit a snag. It seems that a robot cannot place these stone posts against the side of another stone post for some reason. It can place them on top of each other, but not on the side, and it can't do that with fences either. I'm not entirely sure why. Nothing I tried enabled it to do that. So my solution is this item right here, the Angel upgrade. So the Angel upgrade allows robots to place blocks in thin air, as you can see in the description up there. Which simply means that it doesn't need a block to place against, which it normally does, of course. Now, to get this thing inside of my robot, I'm going to need to disassemble it. And I would prefer not having to do this at all, not needing this upgrade. But I don't see another option if I want this done now, and I do want to finish the bridge. So putting the robot in the disassembler is going to take it apart, basically reversing the process used to construct it. However, there is a small chance that a component is destroyed when extracted, which is why the experience upgrade is not part of the robot. It's not hard mounted inside. We're using this upgrade container for it to ensure that this is never destroyed, because this increases in value over time, basically. As you can see, when I insert this in the robot, its energy storage increases. So if I remove it, it has 40,500 maximum energy. And when I put it in, it has 50,000. So it increases by 10,000 units. And this also makes it more efficient, I believe. Enables it to use less energy. Yeah. Actually, no. It can just store more, harvest blocks faster, and I presume by using tools more efficiently, it means it uses less durability, probably. So this is quite valuable, so we don't want this to be destroyed. Now I could put that in there, but doing that, the robot would not be able to use the experience upgrade, which would be unfortunate, because this increases very slowly, and it gains experience by doing things like placing blocks and breaking blocks and such, and it just gains a little at a time, so it's quite slow. So I want to use that as much as possible. So I want the experience upgrade in there. So pretty much I'm going to have to disassemble it. Now the worst case for this is if the hard drive is destroyed, because that is what contains my programs, of course, and I would have to make a new hard drive. Although I do have backups of my programs, of course. The hard drive is not the only place they are stored. I have them outside of Minecraft. It's not the whole world, but of course I would prefer not having to lose any components. But we're just going to throw it in there. It's going to start disassembling it, and that is going to take a while and be very slow and suspenseful. So while we are waiting for that, let's go over some changes around the base. The very smooth running base at the moment. So as you can see, I moved the assembler. It was previously over here, and there was a cable coming up here to power it, but I wanted to put the disassembler right next to it, and there wasn't space to do that there. The reason for that is if you have these next to each other, when the disassembler is done, it will dump all of the components it extracts in here, in their correct places. Wait. Oh wait. Maybe that put that there. I guess this disassembler extracts components one at a time? Maybe? I don't know. I guess we'll see. Oh, yeah, looks like it does. I've really only used the disassembler in creative mode before, because I've never needed to disassemble anything until now, except in creative mode, of course. And if you are in creative mode, both of these work instantaneously with no power cost or anything. But yeah, so as you can see, it deposits all of the components it extracts in here, so we're going to have to see what's missing now once it is done. So some changes around the base. Let's see. I have acquired an uncrafting table from Twilight Forest, which is nice. You make this from a maze map focus and some crafting tables. You find these in the underground labyrinths, which is part of the quest line for the Twilight Forest. And the uncrafting table, as you might be able to guess, allows you to disassemble things you've crafted from experience. So you can see the reversed recipe here, basically. So these are the items used to craft the angel upgrade, and if I wanted to and had 9 levels of experience, I could take one of these components out, and that would basically disassemble the object, destroy this, and it would free up all of these things here, and I would be able to take them out. If you put in something, it doesn't work with everything. It's not going to work with most Industrial Craft 2 items, because Industrial Craft 2 has its own crafting manager, or crafting manager, I guess you could call it. So it doesn't support that. It only supports the vanilla crafting manager, which Open Computers, for example, uses. And it's not going to support the amount of levels is per item, it seems, which I haven't noticed before. This is not going to work, of course. Now, if you put in something that is damaged, like this bow, for example, if we were to put this in here, you can see that because it's not completely repaired, these two components are unavailable. So if I disassemble this, I won't be getting these 2 pieces of string back unless I repair the bow completely somehow. And the same thing with a pair of steel boots. It's missing one of the steel pieces. And that, of course, is a balancing mechanic. so that you cannot exploit the system. For example, you make a piece of armor, then use that armor or weapon until it's almost completely broken, and then get all of the components back, just to and use those to recraft it, and then you can continue using your fully repaired object. So yeah, but that might come in handy, because I occasionally craft things I don't mean to craft. Although it is expensive to uncraft things, so you probably don't want to waste it on just about anything. Because you have a fancy painting here from Bibliocraft. It's quite nice. I had an exploration of the painting system, and I made a painting press, which is kind of interesting. Might show that in one episode. Not much new going on in here, I don't think. There was some things. I've started an armor collection over here, basically. We have a set of steel armor. We have a set of steel leaf armor from Twilight Forest. And this is ironwood, also from Twilight Forest. And both of these, as you can see, are enchanted, and these enchantments are present when you craft these, which is nice. I think that's the case for all of the Twilight Forest armors. I've also started using the tin cans of food from Industrial Craft 2. Now, currently these do not rot, but I plan to fix that as soon as I remember to do that, because it is a little unbalanced currently. Although I'm going to make them rot at a slower rate than other food, perhaps double the time to rot completely, probably something like that. Because it is a tin can. I'm probably going to have to set it so when it rots, they turn into empty tin cans. Because I don't think there is no item with a bad tin can with food in it. There used to be, but I think that it was changed to use NBT tags instead, which Environment cannot use, unfortunately. But yeah, so I'm going to fix that eventually when I remember to poke about the configs for that. There are a couple of other drawbacks with using these, and another advantage. The advantage is that these aren't affected, because they are not technically a food item, they are not affected by Spice of Life, so you can eat how many of them as you like, and they will never stop working. A drawback is that you don't get the healing buff. You get the well-fed effect you can get from eating normal food. Of course, that's not really an issue if you are at full health. You don't really need that. But if you are not, then you might benefit from eating normal food to heal a little better. So over by at the outpost currently, I have all of the stone posts required to finish the bridge. I actually counted how many were required to make a segment, and by segment I mean a part that is supported by a single foundation. I can probably show what I mean later when we head out there. That still isn't completely done. I haven't gotten the hard drive back yet, or the EEPROM, though that is easy to remake. Yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, so I counted the blocks required, and then I would multiply that by the number of foundations would be required to reach the other end. And then I got how many blocks I would need in total of stone posts to finish the bridge. And then I came back here. I brought the miner with me, the advanced miner, set it up, and had it mine a bunch of cobblestone and input it directly into this drawer here. And I've actually used a lot of it. You can see that it has an emerald upgrade in it, which I can't remove right now because that would overflow the drawer. But yeah, we have a lot of cobblestone, 210 stacks currently, and there used to be over 300 stacks, not 400 though. But yeah, so making the stone post required a lot of smooth stone, and it also required a lot of steel for the rebar used, which is what the bottleneck was, the steel production. I had to stand around and wait a long time for that to finish. We have the EEPROM, come on hard drive. But yes, so that took quite a while. I did some other stuff while waiting. I didn't just stand around and wait, of course. I went to the Twilight Forest and killed a couple of liches. And unfortunately, one of them I managed to kill with the lightning red, which obviously, like we learned with that Naga, was a bad idea, which I didn't realize. So I didn't get any drops from that. The two other ones, though, I got another Scepter of Twilight, and I got a new scepter, the zombie one. Scepter. So these are the three scepters, and I have this one. I have two of that one, actually. And I have one of this. So all I need is the life-draining one, and I will have all three, which is my goal, of course. Right, so the angel upgrade. Unfortunately, we are going to have to sacrifice one of the inventory upgrades for it. Actually, no. Actually, yes. We're going to have to sacrifice 2 inventory upgrades because of the high complexity of this thing. I don't remember if there's anything missing. But I guess it doesn't really matter. Actually, do I want to do this? Maybe I should just use the container instead. Kinda wish I could have slightly higher complexity. Need the hover upgrade. The battery upgrade is very nice because it allows the robot to do less recharging. Chunk loader upgrade is good for letting the robot work on its own. I guess I can sacrifice 2 inventory upgrades. Or I can remove the redstone card. But that might, on the other hand, be useful for doing redstone stuff. Although I suppose I could have make another robot specifically for that. Because I originally put this in so the robot could turn on a lamp or something when it's done. But since I'm now using the colored light on the robot to do that, I don't really need this. So I guess replacing that for another inventory upgrade is acceptable. This is a tier 2. How much does this add? Not a lot. That actually adds 2. So if I get rid of that, I can put both of these in. The robot already does have OpenOS on it. So I'm unlikely to need pretty unlikely to need the disk drive anymore. I might need to upgrade OpenOS at some point, but if I want to do that, I can just disassemble the robot again and replace the hard drive, or take the hard drive, upgrade OpenOS in a computer, and then put it back and reassemble it. I don't know. I don't know. I would like to keep all of the upgrades I have. And the redstone card, I guess. I wonder how much complexity... Doesn't say. But if this is tier 2, and that has a complexity of 2, that has a complexity of 1 because it's tier 1. So the complexity matches the tier? Actually, that adds 6. That adds 3. So actual... So these things that go in these slots actually add double their tier. Interesting. So I suppose a tier 2 upgrade container would actually add 4 in complexity and not 1. So I couldn't fit that in. There is a tier 1, but that would add 2. And I can't afford that by just removing the redstone card. I would have to sacrifice an inventory upgrade. So I guess I might as well keep the redstone card in there, because that is not expensive at all. So that is going to have an angel upgrade. So I guess this is mostly going to be my builder robot. So let's assemble this again and hope nothing is missing. Nothing critical is missing, at least. It has a processor, memory, hard drive, BIOS, graphics card, keyboard, and a screen. And this looks correct. So there probably isn't anything missing, I hope. Right, so now that is going to have to process. Put that there, because why not? So this is going to work for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut here, and then once this is done, I'm going to take the robot, go teleport back to the outpost, and ride my train back out to the bridge, and then we'll pick back up there, and we'll see how this works out. So I will see you then. Alright, so here we are. Dang it. That is not what I intended to happen. Going to have to do this to be able to get back up. Alright, so as you can see, we are here at the current end of the bridge. Let's shut that off. Left these carts here, of course, because they are heavy and don't want to drag them around unless I have to. So, those are tracks. These are the boxes of what are they called again? The posts. Yes, stone posts. That's the word I was looking for. So, as you can see, we have a partially finished segment here. So, by segment, I mean from, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, these two blocks here belong to this segment. And everything beyond this point, all the stone posts beyond this point, belong to this segment here. And this segment is entirely supported by this foundation column here. So, now that the robot has an angel upgrade, I should be able to place it here. The robot got a new name. It is almost fully charged, fortunately. The assembler charges the robot for you during the process, which is nice. So yeah, I'm going to place that there. Because I removed the disk drive, we are now lacking one slot here. There used to be a disk slot here. Then I'm going to take two of these stacks. We're going to put those in there. Then we're going to boot up the robot, and we're going to run the segment program, which is the program I wrote to construct bridge segments, which you could probably guess. And then we are going to see if it worked. So let's run the segment program. And my hope is that the robot is now going to be able to place the posts correctly. Now obviously this part of the bridge is already constructed, so it's not going to be able to place anything here. I built this part manually before I got bored of it and decided to work on getting the robot to do it instead. So normally, eventually it's going to switch to the second slot, because after a certain number of places. Alright, so it looks like it is working now, which is nice. There it switched, so by that point the first stack should have been empty. Looks like I made a mistake there. Just going the wrong way. I'm going to have to fix that. Right. So it's trying to build the side again, so I'm going to have to change some functions. But it should stop. So it's basically going to do this thing it's doing right now, but mirrored on that side, of course. And then it's going to stop right here. Optimally, I would want it to go up one and place a block underneath it to bridge this gap, like the ones I've placed there. They don't really do anything, but they kind of connect the two halves a little bit up here. Otherwise, they would only be connected down there, and that looks a little strange if there is nothing holding them together up here. So it's mostly decorative. It also works as a support to walk across on, which is handy. Right. Might as well actually do this on camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to Notepad++, and we'll have a quick look at the program. I'm going to point out what I did wrong, and we're going to look at fixing it. And then we'll probably be time to end the episode there before we pull over too much. So I will see you in Notepad++ in just a little bit. Alright, so here we are in Notepad++, of course, and we have the segment program right here. And the first thing I do is the setup stuff, like normal, and then I do some I define a bunch of functions. Most of them are for moving in each of these 6 directions. And originally I had the move left and move right. I tried to have a robot move and then sides left and right respectively. But it turned out the robot cannot move sideways, which I thought was a little weird because it is floating after all, or hovering. So I thought it would be able to sidestep basically. But it can't, so these had to be had the robot turn, so it turns. False means counterclockwise, so left. Then it moves forward this amount of blocks, whatever is passed to the function, and then it turns clockwise 90 degrees, so it turns back facing the way it was. And the move right function is the opposite. It turns clockwise, moves forward this amount of times, and then turns counterclockwise to turn back the way it was. So then we have move forward, move back. We have doing a 180, and then we have the place function. Now this doesn't really need to have all of this stuff anymore. And this invokes the place method of the robot component. Places a block in front of the robot, and this specifies which face in that block space it is supposed to target. Unfortunately, whatever I tried here didn't work, and with the Angel upgrade I shouldn't have to have anything there, because it doesn't matter what face it targets, it should always be able to place the block unless something is obstructing it. And then we have the doPlace function, which basically places a block in front of the robot, does a 180, places one again, because we want the robot to place both halves of the bridge and not just one half, and we want to build them both at the same time, because why wouldn't we? And then it does a 180 again to turn back. And then I have a sequence here where I invoke all of these functions in a specific order. So I have this is the robot at its starting position. It sets the light to green and makes sure the first inventory slot is selected, so it selects the first stack. Then it places a block in front of it and one behind it for the first block in the central pillar above the foundation. Then it moves up, places again, moves up another one, and then it goes through all of this sequence to place all of the blocks in the correct order, and it does this in a way that no blocks fall, of course. So the mistake I made was after it has selected the other slot. Let's see, the sequence is a little hard to follow. I should probably comment this. So it moves up, then left for the first support arm. Then it moves up to the track support. Then it moves left, meeting the previous segment. Then it moves right 5 times because it's going to go past the blocks it has already placed, and then it's going to place the rest of the track support. And by this point it will have used up the first slot of stone posts. It's going to switch to the other one. Let's see, move right. Then it's going to move down 2, placing, so this place would be the missing block in the central pillar, the next highest one. Then it's going to move down again, and then I have it moving left. So these should be right, because it's now going back to the left to the part it has already placed, which I don't want. And then presumably I want to invert these as well. So we're going to do right, 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 and then from here I want to do left, 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 and left. There, and then we're going to save that, and this uploads directly to my server. So this is going to update the program in game as well, which is convenient. So with that fixed, presumably, I'm going to go back into the game, and we're going to see if it worked, and then we are going to end the episode. We have already gone over time a little bit, but that should be fine. So I'll see you back in game shortly. Alright, so we are back in the game, and I've reset the robot. So we're now just going to run the segment program again, and hopefully this time it goes in the correct direction when it comes back to this section here, and it should fill in the rest of this segment properly, and then I should be good to go to complete the rest. Of course I didn't add the middle bit. Might have to do that later. And after adding that to the program, all I need to do is take the robot, put it on the next foundation, place the 2 bits on the side that are on the same level as the cobblestone, because the robot is not programmed to place those. Then give the robot some posts, and nice, went the correct direction this time. And then just start the segment program, and it should construct all of this by itself, and then stop up here, of course, and I can collect it and jump over to the next one, and repeat that until all of the segments are complete. So it looks like it is working correctly now, and then it should stop right here. Program ends. Turn it off. Of course it didn't use all that many posts this time, because most of this segment was already constructed. But yeah, so that is going to conclude this episode. And again, not sure what we'll be doing in the next one. Hopefully I will have completed the bridge by then, but we'll see. So, with that, I will see you in the next episode.